CITS Pre-Calculus Section 1.1 is on linear and absolute value equations. Now, all of this should be some sort of reminder from last year. So I'm going to go over this section fairly quickly, just do a few examples and let you off and running. Now, a lot of this new textbook will correlate to videos that I've done in the past for our regular pre-calc course that are also up on YouTube. So in class, I will give you some other videos that if you need more examples of how something works, I can send you to another video to check out a lot more examples, if we don't have class time to work over it. Now this was basically just solving linear and absolute value equations. We start out with a contradiction. A contradiction equation is when solutions find that x equals x plus 1. Now if I solve that out, I end up with 0 equals 1. Or if I get something like 0 equals 2, that's also a contradiction equation. Now we're used to calling it no solution. As you go through mathematics, you'll have to start learning more of the technical terms that are used. And the no solution is good slang for it. We know what it means. But the technical word is that it's a contradiction equation. Our conditional equations are the ones that we're used to using. We solve those out and we just get a simple answer. So we get a solution like x equals 6. We get specific solutions for conditional equations. Therefore, the equation is true on condition that x equals 6. Identity equations are when the solutions are everything. So what they mean is when we solve them out, we end up with something like x equals x or 0 equals 0. What that means is that every possible real number is a solution for that equation. It's not just one solution like a conditional equation, but it's every possible number. Okay, and we usually will show that either as all real numbers. I like using set notation or set builder notation. So I show all numbers from negative infinity to positive infinity. Absolute value equations we've solved many times in the past. The big thing about absolute value is you need to remember that an absolute value is your distance away from 0. So when we're solving those, we've always taught people before that we have to write them twice and solve them. Well, if they're a conjunction equation, we don't. We can rewrite them as one equation and solve them that way. And I've got a couple, one of those down here, or two of them actually, in the examples here. So those are basically everything that's covered in section 1.1. Again, it's a fairly small section. Just to go through some examples, if I'm going to solve a general equation, if I have an equal sign, we can get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the common denominator, which in this case is negative 12. When I multiply by negative 12, the negative and a 4 cancel off. So I have a 3 left on 12 on top. So I get 3 times 12 plus x. A 4 cancels off, so I still have a negative 3. And then 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. If we solve this out, distributing through, now, the rule generally is get all the numbers to one side and all the variables to the other. So I'm going to add 15x. 21 minus 24 is negative 3 and subtract another 36. So I end up with 39/18, which is negative. We always try to reduce those. They're divisible by 3. So I end up with negative 13/6. Okay. 44 gives us a absolute value equation. Now we know absolute values are distance away from 0. So I can solve this whole thing out either by writing it twice, as we taught back in advanced algebra, or just remembering that negative 60 is the other number we're equal to. And we can solve this equation. So subtract 14 from all parts. Divide everything by 2. And I have my two values for x. So therefore, x equals negative 37 and 23, which are two different solutions for this equation. The last one has the same general idea. we're going to distribute now. We have an absolute value, so I can't distribute this 4 through, but I need to get the absolute value alone. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides first. Okay, I can divide by -4. And now I can do it just like 44. I know that it has to be between -3, not 2x minus 5, it's 2 minus 5x, and +3. Subtract 2 from both sides, and divide by -5. And we have our two solutions for x of 1/5, or -1/5 and +1. Okay, this is only a one-day section, so it goes pretty quick. Make sure that you're careful with how you solve your absolute value equations and just doing your algebra correctly, and you should be just fine.